There we go. Just double checking to see if we are live. We are live. Hello and welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. This show is all about the events that occurred today in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but mainly things that we personally find intriguing enough for us to bring to you. The sources of this information comes from the smart device application Today in History. What happened today in history?
Historical calendar.
And the website onthisday.com. For links to those sources, the music, and anything else we gather throughout the show, check the description, the underbar, whatever it is that's called. I remember back in the day it used to be a sidebar. So, that was back when we had a rating of 5 stars versus a thumbs up and thumbs down. I'm old. Anyway, I am Xander.
I am Lunk.
And you are you. Let's get on with the show, shall we? Today is Tears Day, aka Tuesday, aka Tuesday, aka Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022. Wow, that's a lot of twos. Why don't you start us off here today, Mr. Lunk?
Yes, in 1076, having received a letter during the Lenten Synod of 1420 February, demanding that he abdicate, Pope Gregory VII excommunicates Henry IV, Holy Roman Emperor.
Dang. So, that backfired on him pretty hard. It's like, hey, abdicate your throne. Hey, you're excommunicated. It's like, oh, shit. Jumping up to 1316, the Battle of Picotin between Ferdinand of Majorca and forces of Matilda of Hainaut ended in victory for Ferdinand. Oh, good for him. Mr. Lunk, what happened in 1371?
In 1371, Robert II becomes King of Scotland, beginning the Stuart dynasty.
Cool. Stuart.
Damn it. Controller fell.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Jumping up to 1495, King Charles VIII of France entered Naples to claim the city's throne. In Naples. Yeah. I don't know why I read that as Naple. Like it's a nipple. Nipple?
Damn. Also, at 1632, Fernando II de' Medici, Grand Duke of Tuscany, the Dedici, received the first printed copy of Galileo's dialogue concerning the two chief world systems.
Interesting. I want to look that up real quick. It was an Italian language book by Galileo Galilei comparing the Copernican system with the traditional Ptolemaic system. Ptolemaic. It was translated into Latin as Systema Consocium in 1635 by Matthias Berninger. Interesting. If you want to look up more about the dialogue concerning the two chief world systems, I will post that in the underbar. But before I do, we will move on up to 1651, in which, during St. Peter's Flood, a storm surge, in what became known as St. Peter's Flood, a storm surge flooded the Frisian coast, drowning 15,000 people. Jeez, man. Death by water. Not good.
That's a horrible way to die.
Yep.
Also, in 1744, the War of Austrian Succession, the Battle of Toulon, caused several Royal Navy captains to be court-martialed and the Articles of War to be amended. Yeah.
Yep. Jumping up to 1797, the last invasion of Britain began near Fishguard in Wales. Is that, was that during, that's not the Vikings, right? You know?
No, I don't think so.
Invasion of Britain in 1797. 1797. Who invaded Britain? The Battle of Fishguard.
My drunk ass did.
Oh, Revolutionary France during the War of the First Coalition. So France invaded Britain. It lasted for a couple of days. I'm going to add the Battle of Fishguard into the underbar as well. In 1819, by the Adams-Onis Treaty, Spain sold Florida to the United States for $5 million United States dollars.
Bad deal. Bad deal.
Yeah, they got away with pretty much theft with that, selling us Florida. Because now we have to suffer the Florida men.
Yep. In God's blind spot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's Mexico.
Yeah, I was just about to say, wait a minute. No, Florida is God's waiting room. Because on top of psychopaths and SOs,
Cartels.
there's also like an overabundance of old people there, just retired, waiting to die in the balmy sun.
Yeah.
What happened in 1847?
In 1847, Mexican or American War, the Battle of Buena Vista, 5,000 American troops defeat 15,000 Mexican troops.
Now, see, whenever people talk about the Mexican-American War, I get really confused because America is two continents that is, comprised of 35 countries. The United States of America being one of them, Mexico being another, Canada, Ecuador, Buenos Aires, Cuba, Argentina, Brazil, Chile. I could just keep rattling off names. Like, those are all American nations. I understand vernacular, but, it's just still, geographically, technically confusing. But yeah, like, 5,000 versus 15,000, that's 3-1. So, against the odds.
Yeah.
1 year later, in 1848, another French Revolution, which would lead to the establishment of the French Second Republic, began. Those Jacquois and their revolutions. Maybe if they shared some of that spirit with, like, China, we'd be living in a much better world. Moving on up to 1856, the United States Republican Party opened its first national convention in Pittsburgh.
Nice.
Yeah.
Also in 1862, Jefferson Davis was officially inaugurated for a 6-year term as President of the Confederate States of America in Richmond, Virginia, having been previously inaugurated as a provisional president on February 18th in 1861.
So I knew, like, I was right. Like, he had been inaugurated, and this is more an official thing. And didn't we say something like just yesterday about him being inaugurated for something else? So it's just like, this guy is just getting like so much inaugurations. We should call him Inauguration Davis. I don't know.
Jefferson inaugurated Davis.
Yes. He's been inaugurated to get inaugurated for the inauguration of inauguration.
The inaugurated one.
the inaugurated. Where's that meme with like the knight holding the sword? The inaugurated one. 10 years later, in 1872, the Prohibition Party held its first national convention in Columbus, Ohio, nominating James Black as its presidential nominee. Now, here's something interesting that I saw about the Prohibition Party. You know how Republicans are elephants and Democrats are donkeys? Donkey!
Yeah.
Prohibition Party is a camel. I never thought I'd see the stars and stripes on a camel, but apparently it's a thing. Jumping it up to 1879, in Okita, New York, Frank Woodworth opened the first of many Give and Time Woolworth stores, or Five and Dime.
Yeah, the Woolworths.
I thought it was Five and Dime.
Now the Woolworths.
Yeah. I don't know why it's changed to Give and Time. I thought it was Five and Dime. Huh.
Nope.
Jumping up to 1881, Cleopatra's Needle, a 3,500-year-old ancient Egyptian obelisk, was erected in Central Park, New York. and this is something I didn't realize
Damn.
until seeing a video not too long ago. But yeah, in Central Park, Manhattan, New York City, New York, there is an ancient Egyptian obelisk that for whatever reason we deemed it necessary to bring halfway around the world and put it there. Okay.
I know.
And I've been
Also,
there. Sorry, go ahead.
1889, President Grover Cleveland signed a bill admitting North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, and Washington as U.S. states.
Nice.
Yeah.
Finally finishing off the West Coast. California was what? Founded in 1859?
Yeah, I think so.
1850, I was wrong. Well, I was close. But well, September 9th, 1850. So I just got the 9 in the wrong location. Jumping on up to 1899, Filipino forces led by General Antonio Luna launched counterattacks for the first time against the U.S. forces during the Philippine-U.S. War, but were unable to regain Manila from the budding global superpower.
Damn.
Yeah. The United States has been fucking with other countries since it started. Well, literally, yeah, that's how we started. We fucked with UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Also, in 1901, in San Francisco, 128 passengers of the Pacific Mail steamer perished when a boat sunk in Golden Gate Harbor.
I was trying to explicitly be offensive, because if you go to San Francisco and ask any of the San Franciscoians, it's either San Francisco or Frisco. If you call it San Fran, that's a paddling. So I'm trying to piss them off because fuck San Francisco and their street needles. 3 years later, in 1904, the United Kingdom sold a meteorological station on the South Orkney Islands in Argentina, or to Argentina, which were subsequently claimed by the UK 4 years later in 1908. Make up your minds, guys.
Oh.
Like, they sold it and then they claimed it again. Like, what the hell? Like, not only did you make money from... Like, that's it. That's the equivalent of doing a drug deal and knocking out the customer or the dealer and then ending up with the money and the drugs. Come on, dude. It's not nice.
Pretty much.
What happened 5 years after that?
5 years after that, in 1921, after Russia's force
No,
under
1909.
Rome...
1909.
1909, the 16 battleships of the Great White Fleet, led by USS Connecticut, returned to the United States after a voyage around the world. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how did 1904 plus 5 equal 1921?
When you don't pay attention.
Well, that's not good. Let me see what the Great White Fleet looked like. Images. Oh yeah, this picture. Could you imagine just like going around the world in like a whole bunch of battleships?
I'll be afraid to get on the boat, honestly.
Yeah, that's a show of force. Jumping on up to 1921, after Russian forces under Russian forces under Baron Roman von Ungern Sternberg, I almost tripped myself up with my own spelling errors. After they drove the Chinese out, the Bog Khan was reinstalled as the Emperor of Mongolia. Good. Russia finally actually doing something good for the world in reducing the landmass of China and giving it back to the people who rightfully own it. We should just start calling China Western Taiwan, because that's what it's going to end up being. Xi Jinping does not know the amount of fuck the world is going to give him and his country pretty soon here. Mr. Sohan, 1942.
In 1942, during World War II, President Franklin D. Roosevelt ordered General Douglas MacArthur out of the Philippines as the Japanese victory became inevitable.
I didn't know he was ordered out, but yeah, that makes sense. Like, Douglas MacArthur would have stayed till the end. He was a really resolute general. He was one of the best. Between him and Patton, like he was basically the Patton of the West. or the patent of the Pacific, I guess.
Yeah.
365 days later, in 1943, members of the White Rose Resistance, Sophie Scholl, Hans Scholl, and Christoph Probst were executed by Nazi Germany.
Damn. What is the White Rose Society?
Let me see here. White Rose Resistance. I think we looked them up a day or so ago.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. That was the anti-Nazi party. Yeah.
Yeah.
Them.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about Sophie Scholl, I think, or something about the White Rose. Yeah, just yesterday, I think, actually. 1 year later, in 1944, also during World War II, U.S. aircraft mistakenly bombed the Dutch towns of Nijmegen, Arnhem, Enschede, and Deventer, causing 800 needless deaths in Nijmegen alone. So, a lot of... Yeah. War is hell, man. And I mean, even to this day, there's mix-ups and slip-ups with all of our fancy technology. Like, we didn't have satellite surveillance and all of the high-tech gidgemagoos we have today, but we still, to this day, we still have problems.
We only had word of mouth back then.
More or less.
And outdated technology that will give us information.
1946, the so-called Long Telegram, which proposed the U.S. should deal with the Soviet Union, arrived from the U.S. Embassy in Moscow. So essentially, yeah, the embassy in Moscow sent this long telegram, and they're straight up saying like, "Hey, this is a problem. Deal with them, please. We're behind enemy lines. We know what's going on." What happened in 57?
Yeah. In 1957, Ngo Dinh Diem of South Vietnam survived a communist shooting assassination attempt in Burma Ma Thuot.
Yeah, Ngo Dinh Diem was the president of South Vietnam at the time. Yeah. They're trying to kill him. Dang.
Yep.
1958, Egypt and Syria formed the United Arab Republic.
Yeah.
Let's see here. United Arab Republic.
The UAE.
Yeah, no, that's not the United Arab Emirates. That's the UAE. This is the UAR.
Oh.
And it appears to be all of Northern Africa? What the hell? Hold on a second. I'm looking at this. And it shows here all of Northern Africa. It has all of Saudi Arabia. I guess it has expanded. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, the United Arab Republic. Man, it goes all the way over into Morocco. That's cool. Why don't you tell us what happened in 72 and 73?
Yeah, in 1972, the official Irish Republican Army detonated a car bomb at Aldershot Barracks, murdering 7 with 19 others injured.
Hey, these Irishmen, man. Get the Guinness out of their system.
No, man, they were fighting for against England.
Yeah.
Also, in 1973, following President Richard Nixon's visit to the People's Republic of China, the two countries agreed to establish liaison office.
Liaison. Which let me look up. I think I know what that means. It has something to do with politics. It's a communication.
A liaison.
Yeah, liaison. That's what I said. Communication or cooperation which facilitates a close working relationship between people or organizations. So, fucking boo, Richard Nixon, boo! It's your fault that we're living in this world today. We should have never helped China out to begin with. Jumping on up to 1974, the Organization of the Islamic Conference Summit began in Lahore, Pakistan, seeing 37 countries and 22 heads of state and government participate, and also they recognized Bangladesh. Well, how cool.
Yeah. Also in 1974, Samuel Buck attempted to hijack an aircraft at Baltimore/Washington International Airport with the intention of crashing into the White House to assassinate Richard Nixon, but instead met his death at the hands of police.
See, the thing is that even if he had gotten the aircraft, how would he be so sure? Like, the White House is not a small building. So unless he, like, hijacked, like, a DC-30 or something, like, there's, like, you know, what if he had crashed into, like, you know, the Oval Office while he was taking a shit, you know? Wouldn't have gotten him.
And plus, also, the White House survived the fire.
Yeah. Dude, there's been a lot of security breaches in the White House. Like, a lot more than one would realize. There was even one where a guy literally hopped the fence, somehow got across the lawn. Yeah, like this was during the Obama administration. Like he got over the fence, got into the building, bypassed security somehow, and ended up in the elevator with Obama before, like, I think Obama himself was just like, hey, what the hell? Like,
the fuck?
Yeah. Jumping on up to 1980, miracle on ice in Lake Placid, New York. The United States hockey team defeated the Soviet Union hockey team 4-3, narrowly.
Yeah.
Narrowly.
Barely, but still, that's still great. The odds were against us.
Yeah.
We didn't, you know, we were beating them at their own game, pretty much.
Well, yeah, they are a people of ice and snow. So,
yeah,
like,
everybody was against us with that. They said we wouldn't make it, and we did it.
Yep. What happened in '83?
In 1983, the notorious Broadway flop Moose Murders opened and closed the same night at the Eugene O'Neill Theater.
Wah, 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 wah. Yeah. I guess nobody likes murdering mooses. Mises. Abusa Masa Misa Moosin. If you ever saw the, oh god, what was that comedian? Brian Regan. Look up his,
I wouldn't mind some venison.
Yeah. It's a flock of moosin. 1986, the People Power Revolution in the Philippines started. Nice.
Nice.
Yeah. Jumping on up to 1994. Go ahead.
In 1994, Aldrich Ames and his wife were charged by the United States Department of Justice with spying for the Soviet Union.
Now, are these the two same people we talked about the other day? Because I remember talking about a couple that had been accused of spying for the Soviet Union.
No, those are the Rosenbergs.
Okay. Dang, how many families are in here spying for the Ruskies?
Yeah, but that's the thing. For sure, the husband did. She was innocent, and she still got executed.
Well, I guess till death do you part. And in this case, it wasn't. 1 year later, in 1995, the Corona Reconnaissance Satellite Program, having existed between 1959 to 1972, was declassified. So it took what, 23 years after the end before it even became public knowledge.
Yeah.
What's going on today that we don't know about? What's going to be released tomorrow that has been going on for like the past 5 decades? You know, a lot of people don't seem to realize that. You know, like, you know, all the fancy gizmos, you know, your smartphones and the GPS and all that stuff. That's literally the garbage of the military-industrial complex. That's the stuff that's so, like, old that they're just like, oh, let the peasants have it. So, I mean, keep in mind, it was Bill Clinton who allowed civilian use of the GPS, and even back then, it was like what, 30 feet, you know, like it was like, you know, within an accuracy of a 30 feet, you know, area. Now it's within like, you know, milli-inches, something. Like the GPS on the military can use probably like down to like an atom, you know, it's crazy. 2 years later, in 1997, in Rosalind, Midlothian, British scientists announced that an adult sheep named Dolly had been successfully cloned.
Yeah, that's awesome. Dolly the sheep.
who died like what 37 days later or something, but still, cloning technology.
Yeah.
And once again, stuff that we know to the public. Keep that in mind. Every time you see any scientific breakthrough, that shit's decades old. What happened in 2002?
In 2002, Angolan politician and rebel leader Jonas Savimbi was murdered in a military ambush.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, you take the next couple as well.
Sure. Also, in 2005, the 6.4 MW Saran earthquake shook the Kerman province of Iran with a maximum Macaulay intensity of 8, which is severe, causing the deaths of 612 people and the injury of 1,411 others.
Earthquakes are no joke.
No, they're not. Also, in 2006, at least 6 men staged Britain's largest robbery, stealing £53 million, the equivalent of $92.5 million, or 78 million euros, from a Securitas depot in Tonbridge, Kent.
Yeah, Securitas is apparently a global security company. I have there's a family acquaintance who used to work with them. So she was like 6'5", crazy. Jumping up to 2011, New Zealand's second deadliest earthquake struck Christchurch, causing the deaths of 185 people. I remember talking about this on my news show way back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another thing that happened in Christchurch. Okay. Because that shooting in that mosque happened also in Christchurch.
Isn't Christchurch the capital of New Zealand?
Yeah, I think so. No, that's Auckland.
Oh. Well, Christchurch is still...
But no, I know.
It's still a populated city.
They had a shooting in a mosque. In Christchurch.
Mosque shooting Christchurch. That was back in 2019. Oh, wow, that was just a couple of years ago. 3 years.
Yes.
Huh. Well, dang. That is history. Let's see here. 2011. Why don't you take this one as well? Close out 2011.
In 2011, during the Bahraini uprising, tens of thousands of people marched in protest against the deaths of 7 victims murdered by the police and armed forces during previous protests.
Yep. See, this is what the global governments need to figure out. We protest not because it's fun, but because clearly you're fucking up in your job. And killing us only gives us even more of a reason. So, to the Justin Trudeaus of the world, fucking stop. Okay? Just stop. Let the people do what they wish, and just fuck off. Seriously. 3 years later, in 2014, President Viktor Yanukovych of Ukraine was impeached by the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine by a vote of 328-0, unanimous landslide, fulfilling a major goal of the Euromaidan rebellion. Nice.
Yep. Nice.
2015?
Also in 2015, a ferry carrying larger passengers capsized in the Tama River, causing the deaths of 70 people.
Jeez.
That's never good. That's
No,
horrible.
it's not. See, I once again I saw something about this. So many of these ferry disasters happen in these second and third world countries because they don't realize that, buoyancy is a thing. And if you overload a ship, you'll just capsize it or it'll sink or something. People got to be patient and wait for the next ferry. Obviously, that was too many people.
You need capacity. A capacity. It's there for a reason.
Yeah, it's not there because there's some Yeah, it's not like, it's not like the fire department is like, "Moo-ha-ha, we could only allow 15 people into this building. Hoo-ha-ha." No, that's because, they want to make sure all the 15 people will survive if a fire breaks out. If there's any more, it might cause a door rush. Like, remember that, like, what's that one
Exactly.
fire? Like, where,
That one fire at that rock concert, yeah.
yeah, where, like, they all rushed the door and then they just couldn't get out and they just sat there and burned, you know?
Yeah.
People are really a panicky bunch. Last but not least, in 2018, a man threw a grenade at the U.S. Embassy in Podgorica, Montenegro. He became the only one killed when a second explosion went off with no other injuries. So, not only did his grenade do nothing, but there was another explosion that took him out, and nobody was injured between the two. He was the only casualty and fatality. Talk about a fumble. That is.
Talk about some type of suspicion. Who knows?
Yeah. Anyway, before births and deaths, anything interesting? Or more so than other articles? Any articles like it's like, hey, I'm an article. Like
Yeah, the Miracle on Ice.
that is interesting. I'm gonna have to see. There's so many good ones here. I'm trying to. Well, the Republican Party opening their first national convention. That's that. Then we have Jefferson inauguration Davis. Him and his many inaugurations. I'm gonna have to go with Cleopatra's Needle.
Oh.
Yeah, like 3,500-year-old ancient Egyptian obelisk now in Central Park in New York. It's pretty cool. I have a lot to go with. Anyway, let's go into births and deaths here. Why don't we canter?
Okay.
You start.
In 1028, we have Al-Jawani, Persian jurist and theologian.
1040, we have Rashi, a French rabbi and author.
And in 1302, we have Jin Khan, Emperor of Yangzong of Wan.
1403, we have Charles VII of France.
Nice. And in 1440, we have Ladius the Posthumous.
And what was he?
He was a Hungarian king.
Now, posthumous means like, to receive after death. Like this guy was awarded the Medal of Honor posthumously. Means he died, and then he was awarded, or whatever. So this guy was named after an action of giving something to somebody after they've died, and the reason it appears to be is he was the posthumous son of Albert of Habsburg with Elizabeth of Luxembourg. So apparently he was born after his dad died or something. Not entirely sure. But yeah, that's a weird name, the posthumous. 1732, George Washington, an American general and politician who was the first president of the United States, one of our founding fathers, one of the greatest people of all time, and he could have been king. Like he could have easily set up a monarchy, and like the people were with him. But he, like, the term charisma was invented because of him. Because he could talk and communicate so eloquently. They invented a word to express the way he spoke and how he could, talk to people. Charisma. That's intense. You still there, Lunk?
Yeah, I am.
You have any words about Mr. George Washington?
You said everything that needs to be said.
Happy birthday, you glorious son of a bitch.
Yeah. Also, in 1836, we have Mahesh Karata Nayarata Bhattachala. Yeah. Indian scholar and academic.
And that was a muffin. That was a muffin right there. 1857, we have Robert Baden-Powell, first Baron Baden-Powell, an English general who co-founded the Scout Association. You know, or however it is. What's the
Scouts.
The Scouts.
Scout. Scout.
Scouts.
Scout. Where's my son, Rich?
And speaking of Baden-Powells, in 1889 we have Olav Baden-Powell, an English scout leader who was the first world chief guide. So 2 Baden-Powells, 2 scouters, scout people.
Yep.
What's the scouter say?
Over 8. Well, honestly, manga over 8,000. The anime itself over 9,000.
Wonder where that 1,000 discrepancy came in.
I don't know,
That's a huge discrepancy.
but it's been iconic ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Also, in 1918, Robert Wadlow, U.S. citizen who was and still the tallest person in recorded history. Oh yes, there's a thing about him in the museum. You can press a button, you can have him stand up.
Yeah, he was 8'11".
Yeah.
Let's see if there's a. Yeah, here's a picture of Shaquille O'Neal, who himself is a tall guy, and he looks like Kevin Hart next to this dude. Like,
Hey.
Kevin Hart would probably be up to this guy's knee. You know, right here is Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart would be far inferior to him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It just comes up because Kevin Hart like comes right up to Shaq's waist. Like, 1 Kevin Hart equals 2 Shaquille O'Neals. Oh, here we go. Here's him with Andre the Giant.
Yeah, it's even damn. He's even taller than Andre the Giant.
Well, yeah, he was the largest, tallest person.
I know.
Yeah, but like, let me see his shoe size. His normal shoe. Oh yeah, here we go. Dude, look at the size of that shoe. Like that's the size of a man's torso. That is a gigantic shoe.
That's Robert. That's his shoe.
Yeah.
Boy, imagine him saying, "I'll put my boot up your ass."
I don't think anybody has the room.
I would die.
Jumping up to 1928, we have Clarence 13X, a U.S. religious leader who founded the Nation of Gods and Earth. Now, that seems a little heretical because, well, why does it say gods plural? It has nothing to do with, Clarence Edward Smith, better known as Clarence 13X, and Allah. So he straight up was called Allah. That's God. Oh wow, he was a U.S. black supremacist, a religious leader, and the founder of the 5% Nation. God, this guy's just all sorts of bad, isn't he? Oh, their name's Allah the Father. Wow, this guy's a piece of shit. Fuck Clarence 13X. Jumping on up to 1932, Ted Kennedy, a U.S. soldier, lawyer, and politician. And then 1943, we have Otoya Yamaguchi, a Japanese assassin, or the Japanese assassin of Inejiro Asanuma, or Asanuma. Why don't you take the next couple?
Sure. In 1944, we have Robert Kardashian, U.S. lawyer and businessman.
You were talking to me. Hold on, you were talking to me about him before.
Yeah, he's the only Kardashian worth a damn.
And why is that?
He was a lawyer of OJ. Also, he was besides Johnny Cochran.
Yeah, but I mean, wouldn't being a lawyer of OJ devalue you? Being on the side of a murderer. I'm honestly asking, why do you think that qualifies him to be a Kardashian that's worth any kind of a damn?
Because he did something other than, make a sex tape, make some stupid TV show.
You do have a point there. He actually put in some work. So I'll give you that.
Yeah, and plus, all they're doing is living off his fame anyway from the O.J. Simpson trial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's probably true. Yeah.
Also, in 1962, Steve Irwin, Australian zoologist and television host.
Crikey.
Man, he was an amazing man.
That snake over there is the deadliest animal in the entire known world. One bite from it and I'm dead in 30 seconds. I'm gonna stick my thumb up his asshole.
Man, that's YouTube. Man, that's South Park. But no, he will always make sure that he shows the animal that it's respect every time.
Yep. And yeah. You know what?
19.
You know what? I just realized something. I share something in common with Steve Irwin to a certain extent.
Yeah.
We both have been hit by stingrays.
Damn.
Damn, I'm horrible. I guess you can call me heartless. I'm going to hell. I'm going to hell in several religions.
Yeah. And in 1975, we have Drew Barrymore, U.S. actress, director, producer, and screenwriter.
Nice.
Yep.
From that, we're jumping on into the deaths. Starting it off at 556, we have Maximanius, a bishop of Ravenna.
And 793, we have Sicca, Anglo-Saxon nobleman in regicide.
What is a regicide? Look that up real quick. Regicide. The action of killing a king. Okay, so he killed a king. Huh.
Yeah.
Alright. 845, we have Wang, a Chinese empress dowager. What the hell is a dowager? Let's see here. It is a widow with a title or property derived from her late husband. Okay, so she's an empress because the emperor died. Alright. Oh, big name right here.
And in 1512, Amerigo Vespucci, Italian cartographer and explorer whose name was inspired for the namesake of the American continents and country.
Yep, America was named after Amerigo Vespucci. And I didn't know this, but he died on the same date that George Washington was born. The man who eventually would make, the what once was the greatest nation on earth, the United States of America. I just find that amazing. Like the same date. Like, is it just me? Like, I'm kind of freaking out here, dude. Like, I guess it's just me. Jumping on up to 1890, John Jacob Astor III, U.S. businessman and philanthropist. He died today, but who? Like, John Jacob Astor. Like, wasn't that? Yeah, the Astors were on the Titanic, but I think this is before.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. He was a financier and shit. So. Then in 1903, we have Hugo Wolf, an Austrian composer.
In 1944, we have Kasturba Gandhi, Indian activist.
I'm wondering if they are related to Mahatma.
Oh no.
Well, not bloodline, but she was his wife. So there we go. The wife of Mahatma Gandhi died today in 1944.
Yeah.
Why don't you take this next one?
And in 1965, we have Felix Frankfurter, Austrian U.S. lawyer and jurist.
Are you
he was
a Frankfurter?
Dog. Yes, I am hot dog.
For those of you who don't get it, check out Wolfenstein Hot Dog.
Watch out! No, look up Wolfenstein: The New Order.
Yeah.
That's where it's from.
Yeah. Jumping on up to 1987, we have David Susskind, a U.S. talk show host and producer. Now, that name is very sus, and I actually saw his picture, and this picture looks even more sus. Look at him. Like, this guy is just sus to the max.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I guess one could say he's not Among Us anymore. I'm gonna get shot. Also in 1987, we have Andy Warhol, a U.S. painter and photographer. Everybody knows him. Andy Warhol. I think he was the guy who painted the picture of the Campbell soup, right?
Yeah.
Let me just look up his name, see what pops up here. Oh yeah, this guy. Yeah, that's right. He painted multiple soups. Really cool. Wasn't he also in Men in Black 3? He was an alien, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Why don't you take 2002 here?
Sure. In 2002, we have Chuck Jones, U.S. animator, producer, and screenwriter. He is known for a lot of our childhood cartoon characters.
Yep. Essentially all of Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Oh, what was the hell? It's a weird picture. And then, well, you have another 2002 here.
Also in 2002, we have Jonah Sambini, Angolan general who founded Unita. Yeah.
And that stands for the National Union for the Total Independence of Angola, or UNITA, which is, in Portuguese, it is União Nacional para a Independência Total de Angola. So that's where UNITA comes from. Second largest something. Let me look this up real quick. The second largest political party in Angola. Cool. And last but not least, in 2006, we have S. Rajaratnam, Singaporean politician who was the first senior minister of Singapore. Nice. And that concludes the show. Once again, check the underbar for any links you may be interested in, which also includes
Stohin TV on Twitch.
Go give him a look-see. I don't think he streams on a regular basis. He just kind of does it. So subscribe to him if you have a Twitch. It's fun. I watch it sometimes. But anyway, for your dose of passive ed daily, we stream every day. The time is still kind of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. So,
Of course, you have to pull a fucking Doctor Who reference.
Don't forget to look right and left at every time stream. Don't forget to rate 5 thumbs and subscribe. Until tomorrow, you'll see us then. Toodles.